Well, good morning and welcome to the Hope Chronicles on Monday, the 23rd of March. Now, I don't know if you have a smartphone. Here's my smartphone. I've been having some real difficulties with it recently. Sometimes it just freezes and I cannot get it to work. All that I can do is do a hard reset and it works again. And as I keep doing that over these past couple of weeks, I'm starting to think, um, is this coronavirus epidemic actually a chance for us for a hard reset, that we can think again about some really important things? Well, the Apostle Paul in Philippians tells us about his own hard reset. He was a guy who was full of experience and the right breeding and all the good stuff. This is what he says about his consideration of all his life was and what his hard reset looked like from Philippians 3. If anyone thinks he has reasons to put confidence in the flesh, I have more. Circumcised on the 8th day, of the people of Israel, of the tribe of Benjamin, a Hebrew of Hebrews in regard to the law, of Pharisee. As for zeal, persecuting the church. As for legalistic righteousness, faultless. But whatever was to my profit, I now consider loss for the sake of Christ. What is more, I consider everything a loss compared to the surpassing greatness of knowing Christ Jesus my Lord, for whose sake I have lost all things. I consider them rubbish. That word rubbish there in Greek is scandalon. It literally means dung. I consider them dung that I may gain Christ and be found in him. That was the Apostle Paul's hard reset that allowed him just to see Christ in his life as Christ wanted to be in his life. And in these days, when we have this crisis, this pause, it allows us to ask some huge questions like, how have I been spending most of my time? Has it been something that's been life-giving and nourishing for me and has allowed me to flourish as a person in God? Or does God have something different for me? Asking those questions, they're just huge. We also can ask ourselves, what do I value? Do I value prestige, my reputation for hard work, financial security? Have I valued that? Or just stuff that wears out and we throw away? Is that what we valued? Is that really where we've gone? We have to ask ourselves the real hard question, am I as close to God as I once was? Honestly, or have I drifted far? Has my joy as a Christian, has it waned? Has it dried up? And also, we need to ask ourselves the really difficult question, do I have an interior life? And by that I mean a life of thought and reflection in prayer and study with God. I don't mean do I go to church? I don't mean do I sing hymns? I don't mean do I read the scriptures and exegete the scriptures? What I mean is, do you sit quietly with God and reflect with him on who you are, who he is, and what he teaches you out of the scriptures? Do you meditate and think through the words of the scriptures and what that means in your life and what God's saying to you? And it's not just about prayer, it's about thinking. That's what the interior life's about. The Reverend Dr. Martin Lloyd-Jones here in England at Westminster Chapel, in his commentary on 1 John, said, the problem with Christians is not that they don't pray, but they don't think before they pray. The early church leaders would say that you had to have a balanced interior and exterior life. Probably that you had to have a thinking life, a spiritually thinking life, as much as you had an active life in the world. Do we have that? So I'm thinking this moment, this pause, is our chance for a reset. not to just keep doing things the way they've always been done, not just to keep living a spiritual life in the same way, but to start over for a hard reset. And I'm going to grab that with both hands. And I really hope that you do too. And that's my prayer for you today, that you'll ask some really big questions and be prepared, like the Apostle Paul, for a really rigorous hard reset, and then start over with God and see where that takes you. May the peace and joy of God be with you all today. Amen.